Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a fish room tour for you. Not of our fish room though. This fish room tour comes from Stefan over at Lush and Salty Aquariums. After seeing his amazing fish room, we asked if he would consider filming a tour for our channel. I absolutely love his aquariums as he expertly combines an array of different fish and plant species. If you like what you're about to see in this tour, please head over to his channel, the link is in the description. Consider subscribing and give him a little support as he definitely deserves it. Enough talk, get ready for the awesome as I pass you over to Stefan.
Hello everyone and welcome to Lush and Salty Aquariums. My name is Stefan and thank you for coming to the channel. Today something a little bit different. I'm creating a video on behest of my friends in the United Kingdom from Aqua Addiction, a fabulous website devoted to this hobby. Do check them out. And they asked me would I do a tour of my fish room for their channel. And I said, absolutely, so that's what we're gonna do. I love giving fish room tours. I love watching them. So it's one of my favorite parts of the fish tubing zeitgeist. So this is the room, right, from one of the two doorways into it. This used to be a butler's pantry in the old building that I live in. That's a fire escape back there, believe it or not, where I can do water changes if nobody tells the building on me. And then I've got a rack system, which we're looking at now, and that's where we're gonna start. And I'll swivel the camera accordingly. This is the 12-gallon bookshelf aquarium. It's from Lifeguard Aquatics. That's the manufacturer of the water box here. And it's heavily planted, as you can see, and both emerged and submerged growth, a hallmark of my aquarium hobby, and it's becoming even more popular with every passing day, and you can see why. How cool is that? This is pothos up there, some mosses I got on a piece of driftwood that I just set over the tank a year ago and basically let it just reside, right? And so stuck some cuttings and some moss on top and kept it a little moist, and here we go, right? And so the roots come down below, if you beg the pardon of my reflection. All that white stuff are roots from the pothos and other emerged plants, and they are sucking up nutrients from the water, which is always a good thing, especially if you keep heavily planted or heavily populated tanks as I do. So I've got cryptocorn, forest of it basically, java fern and other epiphytes. There's anubias in the back. Here's another piece of pothos and you can see the roots there. I'm using lava rock and classic bogwood, but it's hard to see it, and it's not just because of the reflection, it's because the plants are so intense. I've got a little bit of dwarf hair grass, and one of the fun plants in here back there behind the lava rock, that's a pink flamingo, that's a pink flamingo. So that used to be a really expensive rare plant, not anymore, not so much. There's a chubby autosynclus, slightly out of focus. Got those in all my tanks. And the reason I have red roof floaters so thick up top is, well, A, they look awesome, but I don't weed them as much as in other tanks because I'm keeping clown killifish in here, and they can be notorious jumpers. There's a male right there with the rocket tail. They're also called rocket killifish. I've got 3 pairs in there, a bunch of these lovely chili rasbora, neon green rasboras, pygmy coreodoras, and some pencilfish, which I'd like to show you if I can find one. The Margaritas pencilfish is such a nice alternative to the Bexford. Nothing wrong with the red Bexford pencilfish, but the Margaritas ones are a lot more pretty in my opinion. And I got to find one before we leave this tank. Oh, what a fail that would be. Oh my gosh. There's 6. Oh, here we go. Yay. There. Isn't that pretty? That fish is not much more money than the red Bexford pencilfish, but a whole lot prettier in my opinion. Now below this tank, we've got the 32-gallon bookshelf aquarium. I mean, I wouldn't put this on a bookshelf, but that's usually what they refer to when they're talking about the shape, the more long than tall. This has live bears in it, exotic variations of platy, swordtail, and molly strains. And that's a juvenile. I actually raised that one up, but its mother is this gorgeous Leartail red molly. And I've got some tuxedo platies, vivid red with that black coat. There's a fantastic looking Leartail molly or a Leartail swordtail. I've never been 100% certain, but it is one of my most favorite fish, and you can see why. I've got longfin white cloud mountain minnows, and on the bottom there's a hill stream loach. There's a large black Coriadora, Schwartz eye, I think it is. Look at it, how beautiful is that? And I've got a bunch of orange laser Cory cats in here. Hello, Mr. Loach. And Autosynclus, like I have in the other tank. Numerous Neocaridina, those that survive tend to live up and in the weeds here. And then and that's Vallisneria, not a weed per se. Maybe it is in the wild. Anubias right there, Pogostemon octopus in back, a beautiful Crypt Wendetti up front here, using dragonstone and bogwood to create a river effect. These live bears have been dropping fry non-stop, and those that stay in this tank generally reside up and in the Vallisneria and the Pogostemon octopus, or the rootstock of these giant frogbit plants. However, I've been netting some out and raising them up in I have two of these 5-gallon tanks, and you can see it's just ridiculously overpopulated. So I'm going to be bringing a couple dozen of these, if not more, to an LFS tomorrow or the next day. These are fry from all the fish I just showed you. I like to keep a halfway decent aquascape, even if it makes catching these fish harder, because it's in my fish room and I want it to be pretty. So that's Zero Stone and Anubias, and a simple gravel bottom. That I keep on the simple side, and other epiphytes are in here. There's some Hydrocolte tripolate and a mystery snail. But oh my gosh, look at all these fish. And you can see regular fin mollies, Leartail black mollies, and then the red, I'm not sure what those are yet. Unfortunately, it's harder to tell whether those are platies, swordtails, or mollies at this stage in their development. Now there's a Leartail already, you can see on that modeled one, which leads me to believe it's an offspring of one of those Leartails I just showed you up there, but not necessarily. Straight fin mollies, if they've been bred with Leartail, obviously they're going to drop probably up to 50%. This is the other tank, same thing going on here. A little bit less fish, but I try to keep a pretty aquascape in there too. And the ubiquitous brine shrimp hatchery, this is from Zeiss, I think it's a German manufacturer. This is one of the better ones on the market versus the do-it-yourself stuff. You put the heater right in the center there and your air hose, and it's got a neat little valve at the bottom to release the shrimp. It's a good product. I recommend it, and I recommend raising baby brine shrimp even if you don't have baby fish. I was feeding those to, well, especially to these really small rasboras and tetras, but really any fish, even big discus, will go nuts for baby brine shrimp. Remember, their eyes are a lot smaller than ours, so what might seem microscopic to us might seem like a damn fine appetizer to them. Up top, I've got my collection of aquarium memorabilia, supplies, vintage stuff. How cool are those graphics? What a neat way to supplement your hobby with these collections. Those are some old bubblers, obviously Penplax, big manufacturer in America, made these absolutely hideous aquarium bubblers. Not the diver, those are badass, but that dog with the scuba helmet, I mean, are you kidding me? I wouldn't put that stuff in my tank even as a kid, but it's really cool as a collectible toy. So I've got a bunch of that up there, as well as some hardscape materials. I urge people to expand their hobby by doing things like this. You know, raising the live food, collect the collections. This is some old aquarium literature I have here, and then more of these fun craptacular pen plaques items. And mixed in, I've got some books. This is, I think, from the 60s. And there's wonderful illustrations in there, and they just don't do that anymore. Some people take the illustrations and frame them, and I've done that myself, actually. Then, you know, some fun art. And look at that wallpaper, folks. Is that fabulous? My wife found that for me. She's an interior designer, so how apropos. I collect vintage leather jackets, and there's one there all patched up. This is an American art form, right? The leather jacket, you know, James Dean, Marlon Brando. I know my friends in the United Kingdom who requested this video can appreciate a good leather jacket, that's for sure. You gotta have a supply area if you're gonna keep a fish room. This closet, and it's not a tiny closet, is 80% predominantly fish aquarium hobby related items. You know, label your packages, use the plastic totes. Here's the water changing stuff. I've got nozzles, pumps, and, you know, test kits. The food is right here. I believe in variety, and I have tons of different kinds. These are all the additives and chemicals, and on it goes. And there's some tubing. Over here, and I'm going to step back, is a tank I've just not completely redid, but did a major rescape. So it's got that now cool monument rock there. It looks like something out of the Utah desert or something. Very, very cool, if violating a number of the aquascaping aesthetics. So there is no rule of threes in this tank. There is no inverted hockey stick, which is doing your scape to kind of slope down like a ski hill, or a upside down hockey stick. This is, you know, I'm breaking those rules to just try and do something original, and you know, that's what rules are for, to be broken, right? Ergo, the rebellious nature of my leather jacket collection imbues my philosophy of fish keeping. So I've got Dragonstone creating that monument, surrounded by all kinds of Anubias, mostly petite, but really all kinds. And then in front of that, this is a row of Bucephalandra, or the Boucher plant. Really cool, all epiphytes. And my goal is to have them be the only thing on the rockscape. Behind that are Pogostem and Octopus and Lemonphilia sessiflora, and I've got a little bit of Rotala hra. Now, you know, I might change this up depending on how it affects the scape and which plant, you know, because that hra has taken an awful long time, and the Pogostem and Octopus and sessiflora, I've already cut them back a couple times, so they just might win that war. I've got a golf course-like carpet of Helenthinia, let's just say dwarf sage and hairgrass mixed together, as well as some encroaching Christmas moss and algae for sure. I just basically cut this like a lawn, cryptocorn, and that's about that with the plants. All right, so there's a big mystery snail, got a couple of them in all my tanks. Longfin white albino Coriadora, kind of a shocking anti-color for this green tank. Then I've got a host of gold tetras and green neon tetras, and there's some of the red Bexford pencilfish. You know, they're bronze, they shine, they're a little bit metallic, but they're not like those other ones I showed you. Green neons and gold tetras are wonderful, tiny, glimmering jewels for the nano aquarium, and I highly recommend both of those two. The gold tetra has been underrated for years, and the green neon tetra is kind of coming into its own the last few years, especially with aquascapers. There's a honey gourami, a wonderful surrogate for a beta splendens, much more easygoing, less controversial, but at no loss for color. This is an Oase Cinescaper kit, by the way, a 20-gallon, and I have a RGB Chihiro's light. I think that's the slim up top. This is a great kit, so it's available and has been in Europe a lot longer than here. The Cinescaper line is really terrific. Oase products are shot through my fish room. Moving right across, about 100 degrees over, on the wall that I actually look at when I'm sitting in my chair, which is right here. That's Elmo, by the way. That's my chair. Sit there, and I'm looking right at this magnificent ADA cube aquarium. This is about 23.5 gallons. It's their high version of a 20, so you get those extra 3 gallons in height. Too many plants in here to really name. This was a diorama aquascape that basically is now a nature aquarium, or arguably a jungle aquarium. And believe it or not, I actually just trimmed it earlier today. I've got the SB Rasbora, which is slightly smaller than their Harlequin Rasbora cousins, and I think more beautiful actually. Used to be an expensive fish, now they're among the cheapest fish you can buy, at least here in the States. Another similar story is the Rummy Nose Rasbora. This was really hard to find and expensive just a few years ago, but now it's available on all the better online sellers and occasionally at your LFS as well. Just a great slate gunmetal with those red noses. It's a Rasbora though, not a Tetra. So rounding that out, speaking of Tetras, there's a small group of the ubiquitous Ember Tetras. That one of the most inexpensive, hardiest ways to put a red fish in your aquascape, and that means not not goldfish, not mollies, but a red fish from the Tetra line, and Ember Tetras have been historically popular for just that purpose. I'm going to shoot out around the corner and end on my 135-gallon freshwater display tank. This is run on a sump. Used to be a marine tank. When I moved back to Chicago, I switched it up and went all freshwater so I could do 100% of the work. I had help with my marine tank. I don't have any help with any of these tanks. You better love this hobby because there's a lot of work to it. Fortunately, I do. All right, so I've got cichlids. You see the angelfish there, Bosemani rainbow fish. There's the Harlequin Rasbora. I mean, nothing wrong with it. The other one, if you were to compare and contrast, is more bronze and more metallic than these Harlequins. But a great schooling friendly fish and a terrific complement to these big and bodacious rainbows. This is the red rainbow fish or the millennium rainbow fish. It's one of the two. I am not 100% certain. I thought it was a millennium, but now I've been seeing red rainbow fish and they look really, really, really the same, honestly. I've got some fabulous long fin swordtails, these veal tail swordtails. You can put some live bearers in your display tank, and there's the best, right? That guy. Boom! Oh my gosh, I got those at the swaps, right? So you can get these fish, which would be very expensive if you can find them online, but at a swap or a fish club, if someone's breeding them, they're gonna have babies and they're gonna sell you really premium stock, and that's what this is. There's cryptocorn, a forest of it, valves, an area in the back. I have the island aquascape. That's how it started, with just some epiphytes, Anubias, Amazon swords, things like that sticking out from it. But now, the rest of the plants have caught up. That's Sirius stone, and then I have a multiple layered substrate, gravel, sand, aqua soil, and even bags of lava rock to add height in the back and save me some money on what would be, it's a lot of pounds or kilos in the UK to fill a tank this size. As I said, there's a sump beneath. This was a custom cabinet I had made when I was living in California. The sump is an aquarium under an aquarium. I created a freshwater refugium with live plants, both immersed and submerged. The pump apparatus is there. I've got pothos and other ivies growing up top, so I added a light source there. And then sponge media going down through a ton of biomedia and then into that refugium that I pointed out. I've got an auto top off here, that's 5 gallons, and then of course I have the CO2. Now this is the dual regulator, so on each side of this big tank I have a large diffuser. Trying to put CO2 with a diffuser into a tank this size, if you go any bigger, it's damn near impossible. And I'm pushing my luck with this one, but the trick was to have that dual valve down there. All right, everybody, they asked for 15 minutes. I've gone over. I sure do appreciate this little partnership, and I hope you enjoyed the video from Chicago, Illinois, in the United States of America. My name is Stefan, and as I like to say to my followers, always keep your hands in the tank. Ciao for now.